Hello, it's Cyber Potato again. So today we will learn about operators and types in JavaScript. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. We left with creating some objects and an array of objects. And now it's time to use comments and talk about operators. Let me bring this up. Okay, so as you're probably aware, you can use computers to compute stuff. And this is possible in every programming language, and so it is in JavaScript. So let's get this started. It's rather easy and logical, really. So, for example, if I would like to calculate total amount for the total box office, I could just do total box office, declare variable here, and of course accessing the first object in our array and our property, and then for addition naturally I do plus, so nothing strange here, and amount. Okay, just log this, and maybe we won't log this, so our console won't get too spammy. Okay, and of course now I get the total amount. If I would like to calculate the difference, well, you can already imagine it's really basic stuff, but let's just talk about this a little bit. It's of course minus sign to do some subtraction. Okay, nothing too strange here. Box office diff, that's great. What else? Oh, of course the multiplication, rather easy. Copies to order from distributor. It's amount of no, it's number of copies, and use the star asterisk sign to do the multiplication. And while we are at this, let me just give you one good tip. When you're declaring your variables, please have the common courtesy not to call them something like okay, or empty copies. What I'm saying here is names of your variables should be readable and understandable and provide full context of what is given variable doing. So if you're declaring, I don't know, amount of days, let's say days from purchase, okay, and already everybody knows what it is. Okay, don't do stuff like days, or even worse, it's nothing. It doesn't provide any context. It doesn't mean anything. So if you ask me, long names of the variables are actually fine. Okay, let's move to the division, and we can do that. For example, half of review rating. We can do review access rating property and divide it by 2. Okay, and these are basics of calculations in JavaScript, but there's more. Okay, there are more complicated functions, stuff like I don't know, calculating the power of, or trigonometric functions. And thankfully there's this object available to us every time called math. Okay, let me log that out. And as you can see here, the math object has a lot in it. There are some constants, for example the pi, the e-number, natural logarithm of 10, I believe it is, and then there's a lot of functions like arccosinus, cosinus, exponential, logarithm, max, power, random, sine, tangents. Okay, so every time you need to do some more complicated calculations, you should actually refer to a math object and what math can do for you. For example, what math can do for us is to take minimum of a set of values. For example, 2, 4, -1, 123. Yeah. Okay, let's just log that. And of course, we have that minus. Okay. We could calculate an absolute value of something. So math abs of -20, if you remember your high school days, should know that it will turn to 20. Okay, let me think of something else. Math cos of 0, if I remember it correctly, this should turn to 1. Yeah, I remember stuff, even though math was, well, years ago. Okay. So forth and so on. Just pick stuff that you actually need. Oh, for example, let me do one more. Power off. So this is the base, and this is the power off. So it should be 64. Damn, I'm good. Damn, I'm good. Okay. With this out of the way, these are calculational operations, but often in programming we also need to do some logical operators, comparison and whatnot. So let's do something like, is rating equal to 8? Okay, and I will take the review rating and I will compare it against some other value, and I can compare it using 3 equal signs. Okay, and now here's the difference. This is an assignment operator. It tells that the constant or variable should get a value from some kind of expression. Okay, this is comparison, and it returns Boolean value. So as I was talking about Boolean, it's true or false, and it will check whether this value is equal to this. So I believe now we will see the result being Boolean, false. Okay? Because it's 10. Now, there's one trick, because JavaScript doesn't have static types. Well, not in its basic form. We can get in a bit of problem if we will use the comparison incorrectly. And what I mean by that, let me just type two things. Is rating, well, let's reuse that, equal to 10, and I know it is. Okay, but what if I say that I will check whether it's equal to 10 string? Okay, okay, so now our review rating here is a number, it's integer, and here I am comparing against a string, but the content is like the same, it's the same number. So here is the difference. Here we have 3 equal signs, and here we have 2 equal signs. This is strict comparison, meaning it doesn't check the value itself, but it will also take a look at the underlying type. Here is loose comparison operator, 2 equal signs. It will only look at the value, and the value is the same. Yeah, here's 10, here's 10, even though this is of type integer and this is of type string. Okay, so let's see what results do we have here. Is rating equal to 10. Okay, and we will see one of first problems. Well, maybe it's not a problem, maybe it's by design, I don't know. Using the strict comparison, I see that it returns false. Using the loose comparison operator, I got true. Okay, so you might want to be careful here while comparing values. I tend to stick to always comparing with type. Sometimes, well, it's useful to compare only the values. There are some cases. Okay, so this is one important take. The loose comparison operator, the loose comparison operator and the strict comparison operator. Okay, let's go further. We can also check for lower than and greater than values, and it's rather easy. Is rating lower than 5? I can do review rating is lower than 5. Okay, so this is the diamond brace, I believe it's called, and here I read it, is this value less than 5? Yeah, it's basic math. If you want to compare for less or equal, you just add equal. Okay, so equal sign, and it will also return true or false. You can already see that it resolves itself to Boolean, so true or false. Of course, we can do stuff like review rating greater or equal or greater or equal than 10. Okay, and this will return true because it's actually 10. Okay, what else? Oh, yeah. Because we don't have really types in JavaScript, I can do something like this. I can actually try to add some values that I know shouldn't really be added together. So if I add description and rating, in each and every single language that actually provides static types, okay, so I can do something like yeah, this is static typing. For example, you provide the types to our program so that compiler already knows what types it should expect. But none of this goodie in JavaScript. Therefore, I can try and add stuff of different types. And sometimes it will crash and burn, and sometimes it will do its best to actually trying and figure out what the value should be. Okay, and already you can see that the number was casted to a string representation for that number and added, or if you will, concatenated to the previous string. Okay, what if I try to do something like this? I try to add a string and an object. Okay, the object is being casted to string, okay, and it's still being displayed as a string here in our console. So that's strange, if you ask me. The same goes if I try to add actors. Okay, they're being casted to the string and added properly. What else? What other strange things we could do? Let's add, let's try this. Let's add review and actors. Okay, so we're adding the object and an array together. Okay, so object was casted to a string, and then the array was just simply joined to that. Okay, what else when it comes to strange types? Okay, so actually you have a possibility to check the type dynamic of any variable dynamically. Just use type of operator and it will return a string representation of type of that variable. So if I do type of 2, it will return a number. If I do type of back to the future, it will return, as you can imagine, a string. Okay, and with actors I should get an array. I get object. Yes, because array actually is an object with a keys as the indexes. So that's correct. And review also will return an object. Okay, so that's correct. Time. Okay. What else? There are two other important types. The first type is undefined. So we created we declared a variable actually, but we didn't assign any value to it. So I don't know what this is. Okay, and I don't assign any value to it. And as you may expect, the value is undefined. The variable itself exists, but it doesn't have any value. So you can imagine that this is a box, okay, but it's empty. There is nothing in it, like literally nothing, okay? And we can compare it to something else, like this is null, okay? So we can query selector for something raw, for something that I know doesn't exist, okay? And we will get null, okay? And the question is, are they the same? Okay, why don't we get a null every single time? That is a good question. But undefined means it doesn't have a value, but it can be assigned later. But null means the value is non-existent. Okay, the value couldn't be found. Here, it wasn't initialized. Here, it couldn't be found in given object or returned from given set of values. Okay. Any other strange or interesting types? Well, actually, there are two regarding math, and we can display them here. Okay, so I do 1 divided by 0. We know it can result into two things. Well, you shouldn't divide by 0, naturally. It could throw an error, but it will result actually in a special type called infinity. And we know that 0 divided by 0 actually doesn't exist in math. And therefore, we have this special type called none, which is short for not a number. Okay? Let me just see if I'm right. Yeah, I'm right. Okay, yeah, I believe this is it regarding the basic operators, and just a little bit regarding the types. Okay, so yeah, see you in the next one. Bye.